Greeting to all. Today in this video we are going to discuss about the difference equation and its solution by Z transform, and along with that solution by Z transform we are going to discuss about stability analysis. So in previous videos we have discussed about Z transform, starting from Z transform introduction and comparison with Laplace transform, and then we have moved on to properties, ROC, and at last we have discussed about inverse Z transform by direct inspection, long division, partial fraction, residue, and then convolution method. So let us move into this difference equation topic, and we all know we can describe a particular system in a discrete time. We can go with difference equation. So here we can see the first order difference equation, second order difference equation, and at last we can see the general formation of a difference equation. So this formation is very important for solving numerical problems. So it means we are after taking a Z transform for a particular term in a given difference equation, we have to consider the initial conditions for that term too. So this the thing that we have to keep in mind for solving difference equation. So this is the procedures for solving a difference equation using Z transform. The very first thing is we have to apply Z transform for the given question. So given question will be in the form of discrete time, that is difference equation, and we have to apply Z transform for that. And after that, if there are any initial conditions, we have to substitute the values for those initial conditions. So if not any such initial conditions available in a problem, then we can make all the initial conditions as 0. And after that we have to find the value of system function, that is we have to find the transfer function, that is ratio between the output and input. So that we are calling as a system function, that is h of z, capital H of z. So from that again we have to get the inverse Z transform. So for finding the inverse Z transform, again we are going to apply inverse Z transform method, any of the methods, or else we can go with the direct inspection. So some of the problems may require for the application of partial fraction or convolution method. So for getting inverse Z transform, we can go with any of the 5 methods, and then at last we are going to find h of n. So here we are having at point 3 we are having h of z. So now we are at point 4, we are going to get h of n. So that h of n we are calling as impulse response. So h of n is impulse response. So we have to keep that in mind. So now we'll move on to the numerical problems. Here we can see the question that we have to find the system function and the impulse response of the system described by the difference equation. So here this is the question, so it is the difference equation. So now here y is the output and x is the input. Okay, so this equation is having a combination of both output and input. Okay, now the step 1 is we have to apply Z transform for the difference equation on both sides. So here z of y of n and z of 1 by 5 y of n minus 1 plus x of n. So if you are going to apply Z transform for y of n, we can get capital Y of z, and 1 by 5 is constant, so we can make it out of the Z transform, and Z transform of y of n minus 1. So we can have a Z transform for y of n. So but it is having y of n minus 1. So obviously we have to go for time shifting property. So if we are going with time shifting property, we can write this in Z transform as z power minus 1 into y of z. And now we are talking about the base condition. So here it is the original condition. So initial state for y of n is at origin. So now it is been shifted by a one sample. So what we are going to do is we are going to consider the initial conditions too. So it is been shifted by 1. So the initial condition will be of y of minus 1 and z power minus 0. and we have to continue the order of the z throughout the entire problem. If suppose if you are having the value of y as y of n minus 3, so we will be having three initial conditions: y of minus 1, y of minus 2 and minus 3. So we have to increase the order of the y, but whereas we have to reduce the order of z. So this is what we are trying to say via this slide. And for x of n, we can write x of z. So after simplification, here we can write, because here the simplification what we are doing is y of n is the initial conditions, but here in question we are not having any such values for initial conditions, so we can make this y of minus 1 as 0. So after making this initial condition as 0, now we can simplify this one, and at last we will be getting y of z in x of z. So the ratio of this output by input we are used to call as a transfer function in control system, but here we are calling that as a system function. So this at last we are bringing that h of z in the normal basic standard sequence. So now we can take inverse for this h of z. So if you are going to take inverse for h of z, we will get h of n, that is impulse response. And we know the formula for this one. It is the form of a power n e of n. So the value of a is 1 by 5. 1 by 5 of n into e of n. And the ROC will be modulus of z greater than 1 by 5. Okay, so now we'll check the stability along with this system function. So now the ROC is greater than 0.5. So here is 1 by 5. So we can write this as 0.2. And for the stability, the conditions to be checked is that ROC should include unit circle, that is a condition number 1, and then it should not contain any poles, that is condition number 2. So here we are having that we all know the ROC, that Z plane is going to contain unit circle with radius 1. So the value is ROC is greater than 0.2, so it is crossing unit circle value 1. So it means that ROC starts from 0.2 till infinity. We are having ROC, so greater than 0.2, right? So more we are going to create a unit circle with radius 0.2, and more than this radius 0.2 we will be having ROC, so that ROC is containing that unit circle. So this is condition number 1 is satisfied, and so condition number 2 should not contain any poles. So ROC is greater than pole. So if we are having only one pole and the ROC starting more than 0.2, so it is not included any poles in that region or region of convergence. So both the conditions are getting satisfied, so we can say this system as a stable. So the main condition have to, this is common for all the poles but ROC, but the main thing is we have to check the first condition, so it has to include unit circle. So here in this problem we are having this unit circle within the ROC, so we can say this as stable system. So now we can say another problem in this the question is we have to determine the unit step response. So unit step in the sense U of n response in the sense input, and it means we are going to apply some unit in step input to this particular system. Okay, so whose differential equation is given. Okay, and with the initial conditions too given, they have given two initial conditions. So the very first step is we have to apply Z transform on both sides. So after applying Z transform, we can write this y of n as y of z. So 0.7 is constant, and here we are having, you have to apply time shifting property. So z power minus 1 into y of z for this y of n minus 1. And now it is not in the initial state, so now we have to include the initial conditions too. So y of minus 1 is the initial condition. So now we are having z power minus 1, so we have to continue the sequence. So z of minus 1 and z of minus 0. And for this third term 0.12 is constant and y of n minus 2. So we can write the z transform of y of n minus 2 as z power minus 2 y of z. So we have written, and it is shifted by 2. So now we have to include two initial conditions starting from it is y of minus 1 and y of minus 2. So the value of z is going to continue with the very first value of z. So already we are having z power minus 2. So now it is z power minus 1 and z power minus 0. So here we are increasing the order of y and we are reducing the order of z. So this is what we have I have said in the previous slide. Okay, and for this one in right hand side we are having x of n minus 1. So you can write z power minus 1 into x of z, and the initial condition is 1. So x of minus 1 into, already we are having z power minus 1. So the next order of z will be z power minus 0. And for the second term, z power minus 2 into x of z, and plus we are having two initial conditions because it is shifted by 2. So x of minus 1 and x of minus 2, and the order of z starts at minus 2. So the next order will be minus 1 and minus 0. So likewise we have to apply z transform. Now we have to look for the initial conditions value. Here having values for y of minus 1 and y of minus 2. So you can substitute the values of y of minus 1 and y of minus 2 as 1, and the x of minus 1 and x of minus 2 are 0 because we are not having any values for initial conditions of x's. Okay, so after substituting the initial conditions value, now you can simplify, and at last we have to get this h of z. Okay, and after getting, and we have to try to bring that h of z as per the basic standard sequence, and from that we can apply h of n, that is inverse z transform, to get impulse response. So for obtaining this h of n, either we may go with the direct inspection, or we can use partial fraction method, or sometimes if you're okay with the residue method, you can go with residue method too. So likewise here too we are having for understanding the application of partial fraction, we are having another example. So here the question is given, and we have to take z transform for this one, and at last after taking z transform we will be getting this equation, right? So here we are having one initial condition, y of minus 1 equal to 1. So after substituting we will be getting this one, and after rearranging all the terms, so at last we will be getting this equation. So now we can apply for it is a system function. So now for obtaining y of n, that is impulse, that is inverse z transform, we cannot call this as impulse response because h of n alone called as impulse response. It is in the form of y, so it is the output response, so we cannot call that as an impulse response. Okay, so now we have to get y of n from y of z. So it is it's obvious that we can go with the partial fraction. So for obtaining y of n, we are substituting partial fraction method. So the very first step in partial fraction is we have to decompose this y of z. So it means we are bringing to y of z by z formation, and we have to find the values of constants, and we have to bring that to a standard sequence again, and we can apply inverse z transform. So this is another example for applying partial fraction in order to get inverse z transform in this difference equation too. So now we are having another question. So in previous question I forgot to mention this one. So here we have to find the unit step response. It means we have to apply unit step input at the input side. So input is x. So after replacing all the values, here we are replace the value of x of z as z divided by z minus 1. So this is called unit step response. Okay, so likewise in this problem here we have to find the response for the input sequence x of n equal to del of n. So the same procedure, we have to apply z transform on both sides, and we have to rearrange this one after applying initial conditions. Here we don't have any such initial conditions, so we can make the values as 0. And after that here we have going to take partial fraction, and here luckily we are having the value of x of n as del of n. So the value of z transform of x of z is so x of n is 1. So the z transform of del of n is 1. So we can replace the value of x of z by 1. So this is what we have done here, and after that we are getting the value of y of z. We are trying to solve this, decompose this y of z, and at last we are taking inverse z transform. And the second condition is we have to use x of n as e of n. So in previous case we have applied x of n as del of n. So here we are going to use unit step. So unit step function is e of n. So if the Laplace z transform for e of n is z divided by z minus 1. So after substituting this, we can go with the procedure what we have followed and we have seen in the previous examples. So, and the last topic is stability. So let's again just have a recall on the stability, and means the important point that we have to keep in mind while calculating stability is, you suppose consider that we are having a system function as having a poles 0.4 and 0.3. If we are going to equate this to 0, we will get the poles at 0.4 and 0.3, and all the poles in this system function are less than 1. So it means it is going to, and also the ROC is starting from greater than 0. It is a causal sequence, right? So we can equate this, the modulus of z for this particular pole, the modulus of z is greater than 0.4, and for this is greater than 0.3. So ROC is starting from 0.3. Right, so 0.3 is less than 0.4. So the entire, for the whole entire system, the ROC is going to start from more than 0.3. So starting from 0.3 till infinity, we are going to have a region of convergence. So from 0.3 to infinity, we are having getting unit circle. So it includes unit circle. So we can and both these poles are containing unit circle. So we can say it is a stable system. So like in this case, in second problem, the one pole is at 1.4 and another pole is at 0.3. So it is obvious one is including one unit circle and another one is not including unit circle, because it is a causal sequence, because it is ROC should be greater than 1.4. So it is going away from 1.4, so it will not come near 1. So if suppose if the same value, but for ROC less than 1.4 means it is a stable system. Here it is, since it is a causal sequence, the ROC is moving away from the origin. It means away from 1.4 to infinity. So it is not having one containing unit circle within this ROC. If suppose if you are the same pole, but for ROC for causal anti-causal, it means the condition ROC for this sequence will become modulus of z less than 1.4. So at that time the ROC will start from 1.4 and reaches 0. So it contains unit circle. So at that moment, instant, we can say that the system is stable. I think I am clear with the point what I am trying to say. So the ROC, whatever may be the type, the ROC should contain a unit circle. And if suppose if we are going to consider this system as for causal value, the ROC will be greater than the poles. So if the condition is greater than pole, then it is not containing unit circle. One pole is not containing unit circle, so the system is not stable. Or if suppose if we are considering the entire system for anti-causal, so it means ROC is less than 1.4 and less than 0.3, means at that time too it is 0.3 is not having unit circle, so that time too it's a unstable condition. But with respect to 1.4, that time it will be containing unit circle. So this system will become stable only if we are making ROC as this z minus 1.4 as anti-causal sequence and z minus 0.3 as a causal sequence. So that time only this 0.3 will include unit circle, and also this 1.4 will include unit circle. So the first in order to consider stability, we have to include unit circle. So all the poles in a system should include unit circle. Then only we can say that particular system as a stable system. Okay, thank you.